Ilia Topuria has just vacated his featherweight belt, leaving fans, critics, and the entire MMA community in shock. While some celebrate his bold move, others question whether stepping into another division is truly wise in the midst of this unfolding drama. Islam Makhachev has made Topuria his primary target, along with Khabib Nurmagomedov and coach Javier Mendez, who have all chimed in, sparking an even greater wave of debate and speculation. Today we're breaking down the latest developments following Topuria's decision and exploring what this shift could mean for the entire UFC landscape. Before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe, as it really helps the channel grow. In a division stacked with explosive talent, the notion of a clean-out has always loomed over lightweight. Ever since Islam Makhachev took center stage, there's been chatter that one day he might find himself with no one left to conquer at 155 lbs.
All UFC or MMA fans understand my skills. My style is a war style for everybody.
Fans and media started tossing around names, some from lower weight classes, others from higher divisions. But nobody expected Ilia Topuria to make such a sudden leap. Known for his fearsome knockouts and relentless pace, Topuria initially made his mark in a lighter division, earning a reputation as a pulverizing finisher who could swarm opponents from every angle. But a strange new tension surfaced when rumors swirled that Topuria might be eyeing a higher weight class. Then came the bombshell. He vacated his belt, an unprecedented move that indicated he was dead serious about switching divisions. No sooner had word spread than Islam's team began to weigh in, some with enthusiasm, others with skepticism, and that's when the real fireworks started. If you ask certain analysts, Topuria's rush to challenge Makhachev is both too bold and too brash.
But there is something highly unusual about Ilia Topuria using these opportunities to stay on Islam.
After all, Islam has fought and beaten many top contenders in the lightweight ranks. But from Topuria's point of view, climbing up was always part of the master plan. He's hungry for an earth-shaking upset, and if that means skipping the usual line, he's ready to put everything on the line to make it happen.
So I know that I can do with him whatever I want to do, because I know that I'm much better than him.
Perhaps the most surprising part is how quickly fans lined up behind Ilia Topuria. Some see him as a breath of fresh air. He's unpredictable, charismatic, and hits like a freight train. Others think he's trying to leapfrog well-established contenders, without putting in the usual time at 155. But as Topuria has insisted in multiple interviews, there's a method to his madness. Vacating his belt is about more than just ambition. It's about carving out a legacy and testing the limits of what's possible in the octagon. Will Islam Makhachev entertain the challenge right away, or will there be roadblocks in the form of weight, class politics, and managerial decisions? Is it safe to say that Islam versus Topuria is the fight we're sort of working towards, or could there still be other possibilities? Ilia Topuria has never been the type to let others set the tempo for him. His style of relentless forward pressure with sharp strikes has caught many opponents off guard. Observers often describe him as someone who doesn't just want to win. He wants to dismantle whoever is standing across from him, and that aggressive mindset plays perfectly into the debate over his jump to lightweight. Where did this confidence come from? Some point to his flawless victories against formidable rivals in his old division. Others highlight his team's backing and a rigorous training schedule that's specifically geared toward handling bigger, stronger opponents. Whatever the reason, one fact is unavoidable. When Ilia decided to relinquish his title, it sent shockwaves throughout the MMA world. Social media lit up with predictions, insults, and even memes casting Ilia as either the next big thing, or just another overconfident fighter pushing his luck. Then there's the question of how his style translates at lightweight. He'll face heavier hitters, grapplers with deeper skill sets, and competition that's far less forgiving. Many people have pointed out that while aggression worked wonders in a lighter division, he'll need an even tighter defense and more measured pacing when tangling with the likes of Islam Makhachev. Still, in the eyes of Topuria and his fans, risk is just another part of the thrill, a potential path to greatness. By vacating his belt, he's effectively thrown down the gauntlet in front of the entire 155 roster, daring them to prove him wrong. The hype around Toria's move would have been sensational on its own, but it skyrocketed when three major voices chimed in: Khabib Nurmagomedov, coach Javier Mendez, and Islam's manager Rizvan Magomedov. First came Coach Mendez, who surprised many by saying he'd be open to seeing Islam face off against Ilia. He even suggested it could be an electrifying super fight if Toria's leap pans out as planned. But then Khabib spoke up, and his words cut through the noise. He stressed that while Toria's ambition is commendable, no one can simply waltz into the lightweight division and get an instant crack at the champion.
Why Islam have to give 3-time chance for 145 champion? Why? It's not fair for 155 pounds.
Right,
But if he move up and he beat somebody like Charles Oliveira, of course. You know what I think?
Yeah.
I think he can beat him.
Khabib's take is straightforward. You need at least one significant victory to prove you belong, and that viewpoint isn't just about skill. It's about honoring the ladder of contenders who've been grinding for years. Islam's manager, Rizvan Magomedov, largely echoed that sentiment but took it a step further by naming potential gatekeepers who could really test Toria's mettle: Dustin Poirier or Charles Oliveira. Why, he argued, should Islam risk another featherweight scenario like the one he faced with Alexander Volkanovski? Fans had mixed reactions, but the argument hit a nerve. On one hand, Rizvan's stance defends the legitimacy of the division. On the other, it could delay a fight that has already captured the attention of MMA followers worldwide. This trio of opinions, Mendez's open-mindedness, Khabib's insistence on a proven track record, and Rizvan's call for an extra layer of validation has sparked countless social media debates. Some believe it's just hype building. Others think it signals genuine concern that Toria isn't quite ready. Whatever the underlying motive, the conversation boils down to one crucial question. Must you conquer a top 5 or top 10 opponent first, or is hype enough to land you a championship fight against the toughest name at lightweight? Adding more intensity to the situation is the UFC's new guideline that forces a fighter to vacate one belt before pursuing another. In theory, the rule aims to avoid logjams, ensuring champions don't keep entire divisions on hold as they chase multi-belt glory. For someone like Ilia Topuria, who was already eyeing a new division, it was an easy, albeit risky, decision to let go of his belt. But what does this mean for champions like Islam Makhachev? If at some point Islam also wanted to move up to welterweight or even middleweight, as some have speculated, he'd face the same requirement. Reactions to this rule have been mixed. Traditionalists applaud the UFC for keeping the divisions organized, preventing extended absences by champions juggling multiple belts. Critics, however, claim the rule curtails opportunities for fighters to become two-division title holders, something that's historically boosted the UFC's profile. The truth likely lies somewhere in between. For every champ-champ scenario that electrifies fans, there's also a backlog of deserving contenders who are forced to wait. In Toria's case, the new rule might have been a hidden blessing, giving him the freedom to fully commit to lightweight without constantly looking over his shoulder. Yet it also means he can't revert to his previous belt for safe haven if things don't go according to plan. For Islam, the rule underscores the weight of being a champion, locking him into a situation where every decision he makes, from his next opponent to the possibility of a future weight class leap, comes with potential consequences. Lightweight mainstay Dustin Poirier has never been shy about sharing opinions, and when the subject turned to Ilia Topuria's chances against Islam Makhachev, he didn't hold back. Poirier argued that while Topuria is clearly talented, the jump in weight is a different beast entirely. People who've never fought at 155, Poirier contends, underestimate the nuance in speed, power, and grappling transitions that separates it from lighter divisions. Like Rizvan Magomedov, Poirier also suggested that Topuria should test himself against someone like Charles Oliveira or face Poirier himself to truly validate his presence in the new weight class. The reason for this stance is simple. The lightweight division is historically stacked with Hall of Fame-level fighters who have been locked in a cycle of epic showdowns. If Topuria can't handle an elite name at 155, Poirier warns, he'll be in for a rude awakening. Conversely, if he pulls off a statement win against a Poirier or an Oliveira, it might be impossible to deny him a shot at Islam. This sets up a fascinating potential scenario, a mini-tournament of sorts, where Topuria has to topple one of the division's longtime standouts just to get near the belt. In the background, speculation runs rampant. Will the UFC match Topuria against a Dustin Poirier, or even someone like Justin Gaethje to see if he can truly hang at 155? And if he succeeds, could that push Makhachev to accept the challenge without hesitation? The possibilities are endless, and that's what makes the division so captivating right now. Drama in the UFC isn't confined to official matchups. We've seen plenty of weigh-in brawls and backstage confrontations, but none are quite as infamous as those involving Nate Diaz. The latest chapter featured Nate hurling objects and taunts at Islam Makhachev's entourage during a tense moment at a weigh-in event. According to accounts from Umar Nurmagomedov, Nate initially walked by in silence, but once there was some distance and security involved, he started pointing fingers and lobbing random items toward Islam's camp. It was a flashback to early